Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again, and welcome to episode 1 of what I've been watching. This is a video style that I've been wanting to do for a while. It's something in between my DVD updates and a full-on review where I talk about what films I've been watching from week to week. I tend to watch around 3 to 4 movies per week, and I've decided rather than just doing my DVD updates, leaving it at that, I want to talk about my collection, give my opinions on what I've been watching and stuff. So hopefully this is a hit with you guys, and if so, I'll definitely continue to do it. So for this week I've watched a total of 4 movies, kind of mixed bag, all variety of horror movies and everything, so I'm just going to talk a bit about each film and what I thought of it. So we'll start off with the original Amityville Horror, which I put on for the first time last night. And apart from a few negative things, which I'll get to in a few minutes, overall this was thoroughly enjoyable, and I definitely recommend checking this one out if you haven't. So for those who aren't familiar with the storyline, it's about a possessed house, or a haunted house, which you can see there on the cover. And it's about this family called the Lutz family who move in. And prior to them moving into this house, there was a family that was brutally murdered by the oldest son. Everyone's aware of that, they're aware of it before they move in and everything. But what they're not aware of course, is the house is still haunted, it's still possessed, and it's basically set out to take over this family. And once they move in and get settled in, it really starts to do that. It especially affects the father. He really gets affected by it, and he actually looks a lot like the killer who did the murders. So yeah, he really starts getting pretty angry and aggressive. The house is really starting to take hold of him. And as the movie goes on, they soon realise something terrible is happening to their family, and they try and escape. So yeah, overall I did enjoy it. However, the running time was a little bit too long. It was just under 2 hours, and I thought that was about 20 minutes too long for the movie. It did drag on a lot unnecessarily in parts. The second thing that let the movie down a little bit, in my opinion, was the underuse of effects. Throughout the movie, of course, strange things start happening with the house and, the walls and rooms and stuff like that. But I thought they could have done a lot more effects-wise to make the house a lot more creepier than they did. But I guess for the time it came out, you've got to take that into consideration. And the last thing that really let the film down for me was the ending. I'm not going to give anything away, but for those who have seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. Very unclimactic ending. I was expecting a lot more, but again, I guess you've got to take into consideration the time that this movie was made. So all in all, I did enjoy this one. It's definitely recommended, and it's a great haunted house movie. But yeah, just keep in mind the time that this was made. So that's the Amityville Horror. The next one's probably my least favourite that I've watched this week, and that's Mario Bava's Kill Baby Kill. It's an Italian horror or giallo movie set around the turn of the century in a small Italian village. The whole entire village is haunted by a ghost of a young girl who basically sets out to haunt people and get them to commit suicide. Overall, great atmosphere and massive props to the prop and set designs. They really created a eerie, creepy atmosphere throughout the whole movie. Story-wise, it was okay, but to me it was a little bit choppy, and the dubbing was terrible. The dubbing was probably the movie's biggest flaw for me. It really put me off. The English dub did not really suit the theme of the movie. Kind of hard to explain, but yeah, the dubbing wasn't the best. And The ending was good, I will give it that. Interesting little twist at the end that I was not expecting. But overall, the movie sort of didn't really hold my entire attention the whole time. I do still recommend it, especially to fans of Italian horror or giallo movies, but if you're like me and just starting out with the genre, I probably wouldn't recommend checking this one out until you've seen a few other movies. So that's Kill Baby Kill. Next up we have Dead Silence. This was actually recommended for me to check out by Ains Fairpath or Randy, so thanks a lot because I really enjoyed this one. I wasn't expecting too much going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I find dummies or ventriloquist dolls pretty creepy, and this was no exception. The first moment I saw the dummy, I was creeped out. One thing that really impressed me with this movie was the way that it was shot. Great use of lighting, great use of atmosphere. This movie is a really atmospheric horror movie. Doesn't have a high body count and is not overly gory, but it's still great. Great storyline, really good acting. The main actor's played by an Australian actor, Ryan someone, I can't pronounce his last name, but he did a really good job as the main character. This had a really nice twist ending at the end that I was not expecting at all. But yeah, overall, really impressed with this one. The effects were done really well. You know how a lot of modern horror movies just go overboard with CGI or effects. They nailed the effects perfectly in this one. Some really nice effect moments, really creepy. So if that's your sort of horror movie, definitely check out Dead Silence. Loved it, and I will be picking up my own copy. I rented this one out. And the last movie that I watched is definitely my movie of the week, and that is Dario Argento's Deep Red. This is one Italian horror or giallo movie that I can highly recommend, especially people that are getting into the genre. This is a fantastic place to start. Great storyline, great cast of characters. I really can't fault this movie. You know, if you're familiar with Dario Argento's work, he has a really unique film technique, especially when it comes to kills, and this was no exception. I just plain out love this movie. It's a giallo movie, so it's murder mystery, and it's about a English pianist who witnesses someone being murdered, and it's basically him investigating and trying to track down the killer. Every time he gets close to a lead, something happens and another murder happens. And yeah, finally, towards the end of the movie, he finally tracks out who the killer is, and it was not who I was expecting at all. I was really surprised to find out who the killer was, but yeah, really well done, and I loved the whole use of camera techniques, especially when it came to the kill scenes. Got really close, really intense, and I loved it. Outstanding music score from Goblin. Loved the soundtrack, one of my favourite soundtracks to a horror movie now. So yeah, if you haven't checked this one out, highly recommend doing so. Definitely my watch of the week. That's Deep Red. Loved it. And that is it for this video, so definitely let me know what you think of this style in the comment section below, and as always, thanks a lot for watching.